Hi everyone, we've just received the new beige Dali Kupid bookshelf speakers. The very first thing we did was take measurements following this methodology. The speakers were connected to a Vim amp Ultra amplifier. It's hiding behind the computer over here. The equalizer was off and the amp's volume was set to 70. Let me show you. The volume was set to 70. Yeah, 70. It's not responding. Okay, all measurements were done at this volume level to get about 90 decibels at the listening position. So this is how we measured it. We took one measurement for the left and right channels with the microphone at the listening position, where I normally sit, about 170 centimeters away. The second measurement was done with the microphone about 1 meter away from the speakers and at the same level. I've got a tripod set up there now. So this is more or less how the microphone was set up. We measured the left and right channels separately, then both at the same time, and the third final measurement was done with the microphone at the listening position. And what did we do? In the Vim Home app, we launched the calibration tool and calibrated the speakers, left channel separately, right channel separately, and then both together to even out the frequency response. And now let's take a look at the measurement results. The measurements were carried out using a UMIC 1 measurement microphone, which was connected to a computer. We used the free Rabu software for the measurements, so you can do all of this completely free. So on the left side, you can see all the measurements, left channel, right channel, and both channels together. So the first measurement was done from the listening position with no correction applied. Next, the first measurement was done 1 meter away for the left and right channels, and the second measurement was taken at the listening position. So that's roughly around 170 centimeters. Left channel, right channel, and both together. And the third measurement was taken at the listening position with calibration applied. So let's go through the graphs and compare what we've got. Let's go to the overlays. So as you can see, the first measurement is marked in blue. That's the one that's currently active. This is the left and right speakers together without calibration, measured at 1 meter. As you can see, the average sound pressure level at this point is about 90 decibels. So if we set it this way, yeah, it's around 90, even up to 95 decibels. So the gap between the peak and the deepest dip is between 92 and 101 decibel. That's about an 11 decibel variation across all frequencies. I'd say that's pretty decent. For small bookshelf speakers, that's a solid result. You can see that at 1 meter they start to sound reasonably full from about 97 to 100 Hertz, and they handle the range pretty well up to 20 kilohertz. Basically, if you set these bookshelf speakers up as desktop monitors, they work really well. Playing through them feels great. Okay, now let's move on to the second position. The green trace shows the left and right speakers. But this time the microphone is at the listening position, about 170 centimeters away. So what do we see? First of all, the sound pressure level is lower. If the average here was about 95 decibels, then here the average is, okay, let's disable the extra traces. So here the average ends up being about 90 decibels. Let's see at what frequency they start working. As you can see, once the room starts contributing, we're already getting almost sub-bass. They actually start playing at about 50 Hertz. Sure, there's some unevenness, but even so, at the listening position, they're already working from 50 Hertz. Let's move on. Overall, the level varies roughly between 95 and 80 decibels. So once we move the speakers out to around 170 centimeters, we end up with roughly a 15 decibel spread. This clearly calls for correction because the room starts getting heavily involved and eating up certain frequencies. As you can see, there's a really severe dip around 5 to 6 kilohertz, and it's impossible to pull it back up. That's a room effect you can't escape. Let's compare it to the 1 meter measurement. Take a look. At 1 meter, the frequency response is pretty much flat, at least by measurement standards. Now let's add the corrected measurements from the VM Home app. Correction can be applied there. I've already done it. So let's switch the correction on and hide the extra traces. The green one is without correction and the purple one is with correction. Overall sound pressure stays the same. There's a small lift in the bass and a slight dip in the mid-bass and the vocal range. The dip caused by the room was almost impossible to correct. And the highs are slightly reduced too, again because of the calibration, so what do we get in the end? But to my eye, the best looking curve is the one at 1 meter. So yes, I'd recommend these speakers for near-field use. They sound really good. I've listened to them a bit and genuinely like them, even though the bass starts around 100 Hz. And once you move back and place them properly in the room, they can reach down to about 50 Hz, which is absolutely fine for bookshelf speakers. Due to their tiny size, the drivers just can't deliver really deep bass. But even so, everything is very clear, and you can easily tell where the deepest kick drum hits and other low-end impacts are. For more serious listening, you'd want a subwoofer, but at 1 meter, everything sounds perfectly clear. The frequency response is pretty much flat, with only about plus or minus 5 decibels of variation from the average. That's a very strong result, and I can definitely recommend these small bookshelf speakers for desktop use. Dear friends, that's it for today. Come and see us anytime. This was Arkady Zenin from Premium Hi-Fi. We're based in Riga, bringing people and sound together, and may the power of the right sound be with you.